podcast about liars, frauds, thieves, and bullshitters. I'm your host, Pat Sorois, and just to let people know, we are a bi-monthly podcast. We drop 2 free episodes a month. You can catch us on any platform where podcasts are listened to. If you like what you hear, we do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/lie, cheat, and steal. You can sign up for 2 more episodes a month. And also every episode we do is available in video too on our YouTube page, clips on our TikTok. And if you sign to the Patreon, all the Patreon episodes, video as well. We've got all the medias covered. We're getting multi. Meanwhile, I am here with my co-host, Kath Barbadoro. How you doing, Kath?
Hi, Pat. I'm good. I'm feeling a little loopy. It's 8:30 p.m. I feel like it's like midnight. And yeah, but I feel like I'm in the right mood for an ep. I gotta plug my delicious beverage today. I know we do seltzer chat on here a lot.
Yeah. We'll check the seltzers. We'll seltzer check.
We'll do a quick can check.
Yeah.
These are I love them. They're weed sodas, but they only have 2 milligrams of THC in them.
You mentioned that.
I can't stop drinking them. I mean, I can. Don't worry, but I've been trying. I'm not a big solo drinker, but I love a post work cocktail. And instead of having like around this time, okay, we're gonna record an episode, I would make myself a little bourbon or something like that.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm drinking one of these, and it's grapefruit rosemary. It's like a fancy little beverage.
Yeah.
But it just makes me chill and relaxed, and it only has 30 calories in it, and I'm a huge fan.
That's very
good.
good.
Check it out. Very good.
So what is, I know 10 milligrams is that's like the standard of gummy for weed and stuff. What does 2 milligrams feel like? I know you said you just chill, but is there as far as weed feels go, what is there any identifiable?
I'm I think a little more sensitive to THC than most people. To me, okay, a 5 milligram edible to me is pretty substantial. I would not, I would probably not want to record an episode after taking a 5. I don't, it's a lot for me. I'll do it, but it's usually I'm in my house alone and I'm just gonna watch movies type thing. 2 milligrams is I can relax, I can go about my day, I can have a nice conversation. But I definitely feel a little chill, a little buzzed perhaps. But I just have one, the most I've ever had of these at one time is 2. And I was like, great, but 1 is plenty. 1 is plenty.
I am a fan. Yeah, 1 is plenty, but I'm not mad at 2.
Exactly. I'm not turning 2 away, but yeah, no, I forgive me if I've talked about them before. I'm just a huge fan. I'm so into them.
But yeah, I mean, they paid us a substantial amount of money, as they should.
I wish if they could, because they're kind of expensive, and they don't sell them in New York yet. They ship them from California. Can sponsor me? I will be your brand rep in New York, please. I need these for free. I'm gonna be homeless because I'm gonna spend all my money on these.
Man, if I had a weed company that sold weed in any form, I would never pay people to sponsor my shit. I'd be I'll just give it to you for free. It's weed. You clearly like weed. I'll give you these for free. That's how I feel. They should corner the market like that. It's no, we don't have an advertising budget. We got weed. All right?
We just give people weed. Yeah. And then they're loyal for life.
Yeah. As somebody who's been on the distribution of weed before in my life, that greases the wheels a lot of times. You get a ride, go to a car, you give somebody a few grams of weed. Yeah. You're in there and they'll let you control the aux.
Yeah. It makes the world go around.
Yeah, no one's mad at you when you got a pocket full of weed and you just hand out a few nugs as you go around. So speaking of somebody that nobody's mad at,
okay.
I wanted to. We're talking today about a story that was brought to us by a bunch of listeners, and this is the.
Yeah, thank you for tagging us, everybody. People were very anxious for us to cover this story.
Yes, I love that. I legit love waking up and I open up Twitter and people are like, "Hey, did you see this fucked up shit?" It's so cool to be the go-to guy for that because that's our thing. That's why we do this show.
This is also, I think, it might be the second. There may be more of stories that I have covered on 2 podcasts because we talked about this on What a Time to Be Alive. So I love when there's a crossover.
Yeah.
But this time you're telling the story. I only got the summary on What a Time to Be Alive. We're going deep dive today.
I went pretty deep. It's a crazy world. We've done literary scams before. They involve writers, so people doing weird shit. Like collectively, writers are probably above average weird. Like some of the weirdest people we got. I love them. I love what they do, but they do strange shit.
They're very weird, and they know how to spin a yarn. They know how to create some drama because that's what they do, especially fiction writers. What is fiction writing if not lying very entertainingly? So
oh boy, yeah. Well, today we're talking about the master of fiction, the master of suspense, the new face of horror, and also the biggest voice in romance. Today we're talking about Susan Meachen, and we ain't even got to tell you if you've been following stuff like this. Susan Meachen is a recently deceased, born again woman,
recently resurrected woman.
Yeah. This podcast is just about the supernatural aspect of her existence. How did she come back? No. Yeah. Just the guy who misses the lead on this. I'm just like, it's a miracle, folks.
Right.
Susan Meachen is back. No, I do want to give a content warning up top. We're dealing with a person who faked their death, and they faked their death in a triggering way. It was by their own hand. I don't want to get too much up to stifle the narrative, but heads up, guys. So moving in, Susan Meachen is an American romance novelist from Tennessee. Until recently, Susan was far from a household name, but she appears to have kept up a pretty prolific release schedule in terms of her writing.
Do we know if that's a pen name or if that's her real name?
I believe it is her real name.
Okay.
Susan Meachen. Also, I thought it was Susan Meacham, which is like a more common name, and that's just some other boring woman who I think works in finance, but she's all over LinkedIn. So yeah, she self-published 14 titles from 2017 to 2020, and as
14 in 3 years.
14 in 3 years, yeah.
God damn. 4 or 5 a year. 4 or 5 a year. Incredible stuff.
Yes. You know how many people...
Eat your heart out, Louis C.K. Louis C.K. used to always be like, I'm going to do a new hour every year. This one's writing multiple books.
Yeah, multiple books. And as far as we know, not jerking it in front of
anybody. Not doing sex crimes, as far as we know.
So we have, she's 14 titles. And what's funny about that is like that many a year. We work in entertainment. We know so many people, including myself. I'll be like, man, I'm gonna write that book one day. And I'm 37, haven't written a single fucking book. And this lady knocked out 14 in 3 years. So
she had some stuff to say.
Yeah.
I believe the stuff she had to say was pornographic, right? Wasn't she a romance?
She was a romance writer, and there's a whole industry of romance writing that's pretty much made to be downloaded on Kindles by horny women over 60.
Sure. I mean, you wouldn't want the physical book because then everyone can see what you're reading on the train or whatever.
Yeah.
It's made to be downloaded to Kindles. Yeah.
They're just reading porn out loud. I am grossed out by this. Everybody who sees this erotic cover of the book.
Someone has a joke about that. I think it was on Twitter about reading Hitler's biography on the train and just shaking your head to let everyone know that you don't agree with it.
Yeah. And when I watched the movie Selena at my Mexican friend's house, and I booed when Yolanda Salazar came on.
You gotta let people know.
His family got a kick out of it. Also relieved. But so she, this woman was on fire. She was also active in a Facebook group for authors that she both started and moderated. It was described as a fan page, and I was like, that's not right. And I read a few more articles that were like, it was a community of authors. They were not all there for Big Meech, which is how she will be referred to. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. That's interesting. So it's like, it wasn't like people who read her stuff in particular and couldn't get enough of it. It was like, she was a community member among other people who make this kind of literature, and they would all kind of read each other's stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly it. It's
creative, horny people. Love it.
Yeah. It's the open mic scene for creative, horny introverts.
Yes.
It's like, as I said, she kept a social circle of other self-published hobbyist authors. Most of their interaction was via the internet. And offline, she led a fairly normal life. She lived with her husband, 2 kids, 4 snakes.
That's like, I think that's very cool, and also is the type of thing that I would expect from someone in one of these communities, is to have a bunch of snakes. Like that
Yeah.
just seems right to me.
Yeah.
I think
Reptile
that's great.
pets or cats. It's reptile pets and cats in this
And
group.
she's got both.
Yeah. She does have both. She said she did. I believe she said she had a dog, or maybe she didn't. No, just a husband. Oh man. Oh, that poor son of a bitch. His wife died, I heard recently. But yeah, none of that, however, is why we are talking about Susan Meacham today. Let me tell y'all about your best friend, Susan Meacham, and what she's been up to. No, for all intents and purposes, the Susan Meacham story starts in 2017. And that's when she self-published her first novel, Chance Encounters.
Ooh.
Vaguely gross name. So you may not be familiar with Susan's work, but you are
I'm
familiar
not.
with the type of content she makes.
Mhm.
Susan's passion was romance novels, and she was very handy at cranking out the titles that seemed to be specifically made for Kindle
She
downloads
was
and
very handy at cranking out the titles.
she was
Exactly.
great. Yeah,
She was
yeah.
cranking them out.
Everyone involved in the writing and reading of those articles was cranking them out. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It was just, yeah.
exactly.
She started her own. She self-publishes. She started her own publishing house called Crankfest Publishing. Yeah, it's just the stickiest name in town. So, yeah, they also did print-to-order paperbacks, which if you're if you're gonna ruin the finish, you might as well. Uh, these are the ones with stock cover photos of like it's like just various like attractive white couples embracing in
Mhm,
various stages, and they always have like 5 separate fonts. And
mhm.
there's no shadow under the font to make it pop off the thing. It's just like pink letters, and it's like
It's kind of like Village People-y, where it's like it's all the same, but then like sometimes they're like cowboys, and sometimes they're
yeah,
cops, and sometimes they're but it's like the same, like it's a white straight couple in an
yeah.
embrace. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how many costumes they go through on that day. And they're
It
just
does
lining
seem
up
like
with
a
the whole.
fun job to model for those.
Dude, that man, I bet those would be delightful people to hang out with. Like, they just don't have to work and they're hot. They're just like, yeah, it's like 2 or 3 times a week we go and pose like caveman clothes and shit or
I
whatever
bet
comes
they're
out.
all like so bitter though that like they're like, man, it's just not the same as like back when Fabio was doing it.
Yeah.
Like
I'll
Fabio
never
was like
be him.
famous. Like they
Yeah,
can't, they're just like,
yeah.
no one can get to his
Yeah.
level. He's like the Elvis of like romance novel cover guys.
Yeah. It's that level of fame that like that you really can't achieve anymore in that industry. It's just like, yeah, no, it all changed, man. Once it went digital.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Also, Fabio's still alive, right?
Yeah, he's still out there.
Yeah.
Every time I think of him, I think of that story about him getting hit in the face with a bird on a roller coaster.
Mass insanity. It happened. It happened like that has to happen like statistically once every 1,500 years, and it happened to the hottest guy we have.
One of
Yeah.
our internationally handsome treasures.
Then
Yeah.
they had a fucking Italy's best face doctor on hand. He was like, "Oh no, I've got to make him a hot again." I apologize to the fine Italian people. So the Facebook group, yeah. So Susan seemed she seemed to have like a rather adversarial stance towards the literary world. She would later claim that she'd been bullied by more established figures in that industry, and that the bullying plays a part into our story today. And her supposed response to that bullying, I do feel compelled to say it is hard to find examples of the bullying. You would think if it's enough to make you kill yourself, it's everywhere online, and it's not because so the Facebook group for authors that she moderated, it seems to me that's like a likely forum for where you would find this woman's
Probably.
stuff. Yeah, so but it's a closed group, and I started researching this yesterday. I'm not gonna, who knows how long it takes to get vetted to get into the board after all they've been through.
Yeah.
This time.
They're probably
It's
closing ranks after everything they've been through, but thank you for
circled the
trying.
wagons, man. Yeah, nobody get that bitch. And yeah, it's closed up. So, but I feel that's where it would happen. But it seems way more likely that this bullying may have been a projection on her part or perceived. I would say it's like the vibe of like open mic comic who's been like 3 months in, like, why does nobody book me? The scene has a problem with me. And it's like,
Right.
you're just, why would they not book you if you were good? Like, no one would do that.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's like, I think it's so great that like the internet has facilitated like this thing of like self-published hobbyist writers. I think that's great. I think like
Yeah.
everybody who wants to write should be able to write and share it with other people. You know, like everybody who wants to paint should be able to paint. Like everybody who wants to
Yeah.
do anything creative, there shouldn't be any gatekeeping around it, except if it's an open mic that I'm at. That's the only time that I don't feel this way about everyone pursuing their
Yeah.
creative expression. But it's like it's such a cool idea in principle, and I feel like online writer communities are like some of the most toxic, like
Yeah.
insane. Like I don't know about this person and Susan getting bullied, but I do know like from being on Twitter that a lot of people who like spend a lot of time in online writing communities are like pretty maladjusted people, and
Yeah.
like they enact these really intense power dynamics on one another that like do seem, not maybe not to the extent that a fully grown woman with a family is going to end her life over it, but like they do seem pretty intense.
Yeah.
These people take the shit very seriously.
Yeah, they prop it up with their own like idea of how important what they're doing is, and so the stakes are as high as like it would be if you were watching like like Hemingway, like like have like a public duel with another author. It's like them, it's that level,
right?
Especially because you're self-publishing. When it's like before, if you didn't have a book published, it kind of like I feel like it maybe it was a little less toxic back then, I might say, because before if you didn't have a book published, you're no better than this guy. But now that you can be like, here's a link and there's 15 things you can read and people buy them and I can sell them, it gives you the juice.
Yeah.
It reminds me of there was back when I was rapping in Killeen, Texas. People had the little cliques and associations, and this one group was just like these lame ass dudes. They were like, yeah, we got this label, and one day I saw the other guy. They were kind of jokes. I think bumped into the guy. I was like, "Hey man, how are things going with that?" I don't say the name in case it was about. How are things going with that label? And he was like, "Oh man, you ain't gonna believe it. The other two dudes made themselves CEO. They're trying to make themselves top rappers at the label." I was like, "Damn man, there's so much intrigue." He's like, "I know, it's crazy." So I get that vibe. Like,
yeah.
Online writers, I also feel are just like a bunch of dudes with the leather patches on the suit jackets, but they have like tinted like violet shades and they're super shitty. They're just like real toxic. That's the vibe I get.
I'm thinking more like honestly demographically a lot like this women, like older white women who are very like have a lot of like Ruth Bader Ginsburg merch. Like that's who I'm thinking. And those women like mostly very sweet, very well intentioned, but like they can be really intense and like really they're I think they're kind of corny, but like they're they mean well. They're better than like QAnon psychos or whatever, but like they're like their forum drama is capital D drama. They have a time there.
I wonder how many of them were simultaneously posting, "Oh my God, my son just looked at the screen and said Ruth Conda forever." Like,
right.
On the day of, I wonder how many people were like, "Oh, that'd be a real good thing." Well, it's funny. All the responses in here, we're gonna get into it, are also like, you can tell they're like, "We are writers," and it's very like, it's 15 paragraph Facebook posts, and it's a place where that's encouraged. So yeah, we to her credit though, based on Amazon reviews, because I was curious, what's this woman's work like,
Sure.
And I went and looked, and to her credit, based on Amazon reviews from readers who actively seek out and read this particular brand of romance novels, of which there are enough. I'll say that. I don't want to say there's a bunch, but there's enough.
There's enough.
So she seems to actually do pretty well with her audience. I wanted to make an effort to get a feel for her writing, but they are behind a paywall. And so some of them are as high as $3.99. So I'm just going to go through life with a less than thorough understanding of her work. But she describes her brand of fiction as perfectly flawed romance.
Okay.
Because she is drawn to imperfect characters. And according to her, her characters tend to be flawed and complex people. And that's, and as far as I know, she's the only writer doing that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's her trademark.
And, yeah. I was like, whoa, hold on. What is this deeply misunderstood anti-hero? So I did find out that Susan has a bunch of her novels, though, available on audiobook. And I was able to listen to a few of them. And while I'm not able to confirm this, I am almost certain that she's doing the voice talent.
Ooh, okay.
Who else would? And so I was able to find, we got a treat for you guys. I was able to find this excerpt from her debut book, Chance Encounters. And yes, that is the first book in the Chance Encounters series.
Okay.
I know a lot of people were worried about that.
Is there a character named Chance?
I don't know, but I hope so.
I hope
I
so.
know there's a Blake and there's the main character. Her name's not Chance.
Okay.
But there's a Miguel, and we are going to get to hear someone's take on Miguel.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, there's some real good accent work happening here. I am going to go ahead and fire this up. I think we'll both be able to hear it. So here we are.
Turning my office light off, I head for the bank of elevators and bump into Miguel. What are you doing here, Miguel? Trying to give me a heart attack? No, Emily, I was worried about you. So I came up to see if you were ready to go home. Sorry, Miguel. I'm just on edge today.
So that's
okay. That's definitely her.
Yeah, that's her.
She's doing her best. God bless her.
Yeah.
I just am worried about how she wrote Miguel's accent. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. That is a minefield, especially for like Ruth Bader Ginsburg ladies. Like,
yeah, I mean, she's with full Irvine Welsh in the Trainspotting book, where it's just like you're like, oh, you really committed that to written word,
right?
There's another character named Aura, and I can't. Who's in it's a 5-minute excerpt from the book. I only played that part, and she's an earlier character. And Aura, I'm gonna say she sounds like a black woman who's working in a domestic job, and so she does that voice too. And so
Yikes.
it's really, yeah, you got to go check out her deeply nuanced take on Miguel and Aura. But one thing that's weird though, that while listening to this, and I always think of this when I read fiction, is how a lot of stuff takes place in a world where other people give a shit about the main character, and it's like the most. It's just disingenuous to me. I'm like, who I would never see my coworker bummed out and be like, hey man, you need to call her, like characters do all the time. And that would never happen. Or maybe I'm just maybe I'm a prick. I don't know.
No, I think that's an interesting observation too, especially because I think that might explain why these online communities are sometimes really intense, is that like a lot of people writing this kind of stuff like do kind of think of themselves as the main character of reality. And so like they I don't know, they just sort of they're self-interested in that way of which I mean, like, I don't mean to shit on amateur writers. I think there's a little bit of this that like all writers and performers have. Like I think comics have it too. Like I think it is a tendency, but I think especially if you're writing first person narrative fiction and it's like kind of a self-insert character, it's not too much of a stretch to be like, these people kind of think the world revolves around them, you know?
Yeah, that is very true. It's like even like, you know, like I write short stories. I write a lot of stuff, you know, like I'll do my thing, and like that's one thing when I go back and check my stuff, I'm always just like, it always just feels weird. It's like, why would all these things be happening to this person? And I feel that's what you say, it's prominent in the amateur writer community. And I'm sure that's what might be like one of the things that separates amateur writers from writers that hit it big, is who are able to like escape that type of prose where it's just like the world is happening to their character. And you know, like we're seeing the manifestation of people who don't understand that.
Who don't sort of move beyond that, I guess. But, yeah.
So wow, we just that was a nice little literary criticism we did there. That was fun. So yeah, that was that. So Susan Meachen, other originals for Susan Meachen that are currently available for download on audiobook are Special Delivery. I think that one's about a home invasion. I don't know, but Losing Him and Finding You. It's not a self-help book. It's
right. No, she dumped a guy for another guy, I'm guessing, is what that is about.
Yeah, and to get like full on like book stupid again. I was like, well, wait, if I'm Losing Him and Finding Me, I'm looking at the cover. Am I in the book? What is this, Susan? I don't know. It's then there's Smoky Mountain Love, and to be clear, that is mountain. That's the abbreviated form of mountain. So on the title of the book, it's Smoky MTN period Love.
Okay.
So yeah. But Susan wasn't without her supporters. I did find this glowing 5-star review written by a woman named Connie Ortiz, which might come into play later, for Chance Encounters on bookbub.com, which I didn't know existed, and now I have
BookBub.
a weird membership to read on it where they send me emails that I'll never
no.
unsubscribe to. So if you see me out in these streets, ask me what's happening on BookBug. I'll know. But here we go. This is what Connie had to say about, I believe this is all from her debut book. I want to stick on Chance Encounters. I don't want to stumble too far to the Meachen cinematic universe.
Sure.
But she said, what a fantastic read. If you're looking for a great read, this is it. It's someone like anything I've read before. Susan Meachen sucked me into the story from the beginning to end. Gross.
She did what?
Yeah. Look at Susan Meachen sucked me into the story. Like, you got to space that better, man. I found so she sucked me into the story from beginning to end. I found myself wanting more. That's a horny way to feel about a book. The story had romance, suspense, excitement. I was able to connect with these characters and the storyline. Her story tells of real life issues. This makes her book so real and emotional. Some books you read and some you enjoy, but Chance Encounter swallows you up.
Damn. This woman has blowjobs on the brain. She sucked me in and swallowed me up. God damn.
I found myself wanting more. And it says, and then it said, but Chance Encounter swallows you up, heart and soul. I am definitely excited to read her next book.
All right. 5 stars.
There's another closing. Thank you, Miss Meachen, for sharing your amazing talent. I would definitely recommend this book to all my friends. So,
a glowing review.
In classic lie, cheat, and steal fashion, a trope that would happen. It's like if they just stayed in their lane, they wouldn't be on the show. If that was, Susan could have just continued to crank out 5 awkwardly horny books a year.
Yep, to her adoring fans in her Facebook group, she could have had a good time. She would have been
the God King Emperor of the Ward. She would have been, it could have just been her hubby, the 2 kids, and all those damn snakes just hanging out in southeastern Tennessee. But like so many aspiring artists before her, Susan Meachen mistakenly, I have to stress, has felt she deserved more. And that's, we do that as aspiring artists. We make this crazy mistake that, we need a little more out of this. And
I'm underappreciated.
It causes some behaviors. So she
certainly does cause some behaviors. I have seen, that is, I am living and observing those behaviors in the comedy community. And have been for the past 10 years.
Yeah. I read about a man today who had some behaviors, and now I'll never know what happens in the Citadel of Ricks. That storyline's just in the wind. Unless it wrapped up already, I don't watch it that consistently. But so she devised a plan that was in and of itself a testament to the type of fiction she prolifically writes. So in September of 2020, we're going all the way back. September 2020, you're inside. Your hair is long. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I had a haircut by September 2020. I ain't got a front. I waited till like August though. And then
that's for you. That's a lot. We've talked about your commitment to the fade. So like the fact that you went from March to August with no haircut is you were being brave.
If anybody check my Instagram, like just fly back. I got the before and after. It is the longest my hair has been in my adult life. It's insane. And then the next.
And you were like, I am not about to die of COVID without a fade.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not letting the mortuary artist do the fade. I gotta go.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's gotta be my guy. If it ain't my guy, I can't do it. So but this was September 2020. We all remember that. A post was made in the ward from Susan's Facebook account. In it, a person claiming to be Susan Meachen's daughter broke the news of her mother's passing to the group. And again, we see this all the time with these like fake online scams. It's like when you would talk to girls on AIM when you were like a kid, you're just like, hey, it's David's friend Pat, or whatever. Just like you're
right.
The fake friend who's not in the room. Like it's very, very juvenile shit. So Meachen's daughter, she said it was due to suicide, and that it came as a result of the campaign of harassment that she had suffered at the hands of the book world, which is what a lot of them refer to it as. I was writing this out, and I kept writing literary industry.
Right, literary world or whatever. Yeah, nope.
And then I got into a couple of first-person accounts, and it's just like, yeah, the book world was going crazy that day.
That's so funny. That's such a weird, that
book world
that's
sounds
really
like a
funny.
Kingdom Hearts video game where just every character, it's like you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, Tom Sawyer and Don Quixote, you know, it's just hanging out. It's just some nerd's wet dream.
It sounds like the imaginary fantasy of a child with no friends. Just like book world. I wish I lived in book world.
Yeah. Hell yeah, just that, man. I'm like going to my childhood times playing in the yard alone. I'm like, oh shit, did I say book world? Like, it's not out of the question. I had an idea of cooking like that, like fourth grade. Yeah, friend activity was at an all-time low, and I definitely.
My friends are books. I'm going to book world.
Oh, your friend lives next door. My friend lives in Arabia. And it's like open 1,000 nights. So in a follow-up post, so their daughter had to explain. So she's like, yeah, my mom died a week ago. And people were like, well, hold on, she's been posted.
Is she on, is the sister posting this on the sister's account or on Susan Meachen's account?
It's the daughter posting on her mom's account.
Right. So she's posting as Susan Meachen saying, hey, this is her sister. She's passed away.
Yeah.
Got
Susan Meachen checking in here. Or not Susan Meachen checking in
right.
here. Susan Meachen checking in from hell. So she was like, but there had been some activity. She said the death had happened like a week ago. And there had been some activity on her account. And she was like, in an eerily prophetic line, she goes, hey guys, thought everyone knew my mom had died. Dead people don't post online. She didn't say LOL, but it was implied. And then she basically was like, I've been on her account, using her account to help go through some of her notes and things. I don't know why you need Facebook for any of this, to help finish her last novel.
Her dying wish.
Yeah, her dying fish. Her dying wish. And also, the last novel was called Love to Last a Lifetime.
Well, not very long, apparently.
Yeah. Also on BookBub, it is her lowest rated book.
Damn.
Yeah, most of them have like 4 stars, even on Amazon. And that one is like 2. So,
wow, a disappointment.
Yeah. So she explained that she had taken on herself to finish her mother's final novel, Love to Last a Lifetime. She said her mother had intended to give her the unfinished book for her wedding present. And she called upon
giving your kid a romance novel you wrote as a wedding present. Work on your story, man. I know this isn't none of this is true, and so I'm like, I have some script notes about this. That's insane. That is insane. Can you imagine that? You get married and your mom is like, I have something for you, and it's just a full-on romance novel. It's just smut. Oh my god.
This is.
I'm gonna read from it at your rehearsal dinner. Jesus.
I want you to be familiar with my take on human intimacy.
Right.
My friend's dad was our principal. His name was Mr. Dickinson, one of my close childhood friends. His dad, Mr. Dickinson, big black cowboy dude, wrote a book about Wild Bill Pickett, the old black cowboy that invented the bulldogging maneuver. It was a children's book, got it published, and gave my friend and all his brothers a copy for Christmas, and then said to add to the gift was, I will read from it anytime you want me to. I may have mentioned him on the podcast before. He got dragged into our cafeteria on a rocking horse in full regalia by like an office aide, and he got up and performed aloud a chapter from the book.
Amazing. What a weirdo.
One of the coolest human beings of all time. He goes, Wild Bill looked at the mountain lion, and he was just full on. So check that out. What the Bill Pickett thing by Malcolm Dickinson.
That's the good kind of amateur writing. Principals with their weird books that they read from the cafeteria.
The kids play with your snakes, just like be a wacky, crazy local character. No one knows how to have fun with this shit. But yeah, so she said it was given to her as a wedding present. Then she called upon the community of authors for help in editing the project and getting it ready for release in honor of her mother. Unpaid, mind you. Unpaid,
of course, donating to this grieving family.
Donate to this grieving family.
Yeah, in memoriam for this woman, we will edit for free.
Spoiler alert. I mean, we know this is going, but I want to know, was that a cruel thing on her? Because she was like, had such contempt for all these people where she's like, I want to see how these fucking plebes edit my work. And she's just like, oh, look at Stacy. Oh, you would do that. You hack shit. Like it feels like that was her own torture porn, kind of.
I wonder too if maybe this is like maybe it's rated low on that website because like I feel like you're gonna be way more lax editing a dead person's work because like there's not gonna be another draft, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like you can't like send them back notes of like, I don't think you need this part. Can you elaborate on this some more? Like you're not gonna do that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right? Yeah. You can break out the Ouija board. You're just like, I feel like in the middle it gets a little slow. Turn the lights on and off if you agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe you're a little lax. So
Yeah. Well, she said donate my editing skills. She also said donate your editing skills. She also was like, hey, could you also donate real money to help pay for her
Yeah.
funeral? And so then she
God,
also asked,
we need like funerals should be free for like or just like it's insane how expensive a funeral is, but like they should somehow be subsidized or something.
yeah.
Partially because they're expensive, but partially because it would stop so many scam GoFundMe's. Like
Yeah.
if no one had to raise money for a funeral, like that would take out like half of the frauds we have covered like in the last couple months.
Yeah. Also, I gotta get this out of your public. If I ever die and you're able to raise money, don't blow it on a stupid fucking funeral.
Yeah, bury me in the cheapest shit possible. Spend it on something fun.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Throw me. I'll say you can do this. Throw me out of the car on the highway. Let somebody else fucking deal with it, and just go do something else. You know?
Yeah, throw me out of the car on the highway on the way to South Padre Island for the weekend or something. Like, go have fun.
Like, that last road part you get before you go up over where it's literally just chicken wire between you and the Gulf of Mexico.
Drop me there.
Right there. I want to bloat and I want people to see it. No coffin, please. Just Gulf of Mexico. So she also requested that people, she said, hey, also, could you avoid reporting the death to Facebook so the account won't get memorialized, which would strip away functionality, making it harder for me to complete the book? Because you know how you store chapters of your novel in Facebook Messenger, you know?
Yeah.
That's where I keep all my stuff.
Yep.
So there was an outpouring of support from her mother's online circle of friends and colleagues, not just to help with the editing, but financial help as well. The GoFundMe actually reached $1,700. Not that high, lady. I don't mean
Guess you weren't that beloved. Sorry.
I've seen people get $9,000 for their dog surgery. What are you doing? So Austin is a city where I have seen dog surgeries outpace human cancer.
It is like I get that, like God knows, like having veterinary care can be very, very expensive, but there is something sort of offensive about having pet GoFundMe like on the same website as people GoFundMe. It's like it's just, I don't know, that feels very demoralizing. Yeah, when you see like a dog that's raised $60,000 and you're like, I need fucking dialysis. Like, what is this?
Yeah, just
I love animals, but like, be for real. Come on. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I can't learn to heck a bork at this age, or the fuck is this? Like,
right.
My ex, she had 2 kids, and the park by her house, the cool park that the kids liked, had no overhang, so there's no shade. So the shit was like too hot to play on. And the dog park had a very elaborate and like eccentric like covering. And if you just sit there and watch, like her kids be like, like can't get on the slide. And there's just a corgi with sunglasses on across the street. So she said, she also, they said, they got 1,700, and also, hey, don't report this to Facebook. And then they said, hey, we need someone to step up and take over the group. And the woman that stepped up was named Connie Ortiz. If you recall, Connie Ortiz was
big
also
fan.
Who left the glowing 5-star review.
Yeah, that's right.
Susan's book. Yeah, who got verifiably horny from it. So
Susan Meachen super fan. She's going to take over.
What would the Meachen fan club be? The Meach Breach, the Meachead? No, I got nothing. The Micheladas?
Micheladas. It'd be the Micheladas.
Ooh, I think I might go. I mean, I've been drinking those, like, my new worst obsession that's so horrible for me is like those Modelo mango chili michelada things. It's just pure corn syrup, and it's actually less booze than regular beer, but shit, they're good. So Connie Ortiz, she said she'll step up, and she served as the admin of the group until November of 2022, when they reached out to the community to see if anyone was interested in taking it over. They were just unable to keep up with it, they said. The first comment came from a group member by the name of TN Steele, who offered to take it over, which they did.
Now that's a romance novel name.
Yeah.
Finally. Somebody with a good pen name here.
For sure. Another ripple in the wake of this tragedy was a heated round of finger pointing within the community as people attempted to hold people accountable for bullying Susan. But like the thing is nobody could really find like a definitive case of the bullying. So people were going back and looking up, like, it was like a witch hunt. They were like, look at this right here. You laugh reacted or whatever. Like, it was.
That's why she's dead. You killed her. Yeah.
You killed her. And it's a room, again, of like very dramatic people who probably know how to be accusatory in the most theatrical way achievable.
Oh, yeah.
So they go back. And so the tragedy left its mark. And as tragedies do, it reshaped the social landscape. And as tragedies do, it also, it eventually, time marched on. What they didn't want to touch on was in a Reddit that I read, there's people from the group who were like, man, there really wasn't any instances of it. They said it was feedback was asked for some of her writing, and the feedback, this is what one person said, but the feedback was like, not what she wanted to hear, and it was, she didn't take it well. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
So time marches on. Nearly 2.5 years later, January 2023, this month, last week, the current year, shit goes haywire. There's a development in the story that elevates it to the status of a lie, cheat, and steal level event, which is an LCSLE. The relative peace and quiet of the ward was shattered when a post appeared from the OG Susan Meachen account. And this is odd because Susan's daughter had been pretty kind of silent for like 2 years,
Yep.
But a quick read revealed something far wilder. It was a message from Sarah Meachen herself. And this is where it gets supernatural, because beyond the grave, she did this. No, she was very real in corporeal form. It read as follows. It said, tell me this is an author. This is the type of people we've been talking about the whole episode. She goes, I've debated on how to do this 1,000,000 times and still not sure if it's right or not. There's going to be tons of questions and a lot of people leaving the group, I'd guess. But my family did what they thought was best for me, and I can't fault them for it. I almost died again at my own hand, and they had to go through all that hell again. Returning to the ward doesn't mean much, but I am in a good place now, and I'm hoping to write again. Let the fun begin. What the fuck? She just gets all fucking Joker at the end of it. Like,
yeah, like, that's a lot of words for what basically amounts to like, ain't I a stinker? Like,
yeah, it's like, let the fun begin, Batman. Like, it's just like that's at that point you have 24 hours to save Gotham.
Yeah, I mean, again, it is like it is the language of a person who believes themselves to be the protagonist of reality, and coming back from the dead is like a good way to get a lot of attention very briefly. Like people will be like, "Oh shit, okay."
Yeah, historically, people who have done that have been pretty influential.
Exactly. It's a good way to get a lot of people talking.
Yeah, it gets the vibe out. You remember Lazarus? He's back. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still talk about that guy.
That's
we
true.
Still talk about Jesus. Yeah, and as we should. So that club it's exclusive either way, but it either has like 3 or like maybe I don't know, like 7 members or no members. Like it's either
the Coming Back from the Dead club.
Coming Back from the Dead. It's either got like, if you go by world religions, it's got maybe like, I don't know, 8 or 9, and then like, or it's actually 0 because none of it's real. The jury's still out. But people were shocked. The full details. Which is crazy. I thought they would have taken that in stride.
Sorry, go ahead. You're gonna elaborate, I'm sure.
Yeah, the details were that while Susan was alive, according to her, she had attempted suicide. And I don't want to make a joke about that. I don't know if this lady did that or not, And while she survived,
whether she did or not, it is definitely very clearly being talked about by her to make sure that people don't immediately jump down her throat. Like, whether it happened or not. And if it happened, that's very sad. And it totally possible. But definitely putting it in the first line here is I'm not totally lying. I was very upset.
I might have, embellish a bit about suicide. I did cry. And,
Right.
Yeah. Also, it was funny is just that little discussion. I think we were more respectful of suicide than she was in any part of this. So maybe I don't
That's a
owe
good.
her. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So according to Susan, her family decided that, in the wake of the suicide attempt, it would be best to, the classic stages of grief. Say she was dead.
Yep.
Blame the Facebook group for making her do it. Ask for people they blame to edit the book for free, and finally donate to her funeral costs.
Yep. Yeah.
That is the 4 stages of grief.
The classic, the scammer stages of grief.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Yeah. 1, die. 2, blame everyone else. People were shocked, but not all of them. You see, some folks hadn't been so convinced they were reading posts written by Sarah's daughter, because they found it very unlikely that both mother and daughter would have the same writing style, and also she's self-published. Let's be honest, same writing mistakes.
I was gonna say the first part sounds like a real compliment almost, because it's like, wow, this striking and unique literary voice. She can't stifle it.
Yeah.
But it's more, that like her apostrophes are in the wrong place.
Yeah, it was like her mother was speaking through here. Listen to this right here. Mom be dead, love you, money now, please go fund. And it just, wow. The voice echoing through generations. A common typo in Sarah's online combos, not her writing, but her online combos, and it may not be an intentional typo. I type CUZ for cuz and shit. But instead of saying supposed to, like I'm supposed to do this, she would say post to. Post.
Interesting. Okay.
In Tennessee, she owns 4 snakes. That's how she's going to say.
And she's from Tennessee. This is valid.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel we've been leaving that detail out of a lot of places in here, and I'll say you're welcome, Tennessee. But yeah, so she, there's something, but people were suspicious. But there's something about a 2.5-year gap that kind of puts your suspicions to bed, because it's modern age. If somebody fakes their own death, like, I'm gonna know about it in 36 hours. That's not gonna fly. Like in 2.5 years, nobody heard from her. And so it just, Sarah's former friends and associates, they began to flood her inbox. The responses range from cagey to guarded to unapologetic to cryptic, back to cagey. She was all over the place. One group member DM'd her and said, "What is going on?" And Sarah replied, just like completely detached. At least that's what it sounds like. Goes, "Nothing. I simply want my life back." Okay.
Like making it everyone else's like problem again.
Yeah.
Why don't you let me live? You killed you. You're the one who didn't let you live.
Yeah. Same thing happened to Britney Spears. As soon as I got back in control of my life, now it's a problem. So she said, "Nothing. I simply want my life back. My family was in a bad place and did what they thought was best for me." Some folks are more concerned about the bottom line, and they're like, "Yo, you giving back those funeral donations, girl?"
Right.
And to which she replied, and this, I was running it by Sid earlier, and Sid was like, "I kind of respect that." She goes, "Look, you donated that money. She goes, "A donation doesn't become a loan simply because you regret it.
A donation doesn't become a loan simply because I am alive now."
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah. Oh, don't go getting all stingy now that I'm back from the flipping dead. Yeah, that's a level of bold there. Be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the money you donated." You got to type that online, because you say that face to face, you might get clocked.
Yeah, you might die for real that time.
Yeah. Buck, that was one of the more gangster things I've ever heard you say, Kat. You got the hoodie popped, you're like, "You gonna die for real that time." But a few people began to dig and found that Susan Meachen really hadn't disappeared at all. She's been on TikTok this whole damn time. She's been on the talk on her own name not as her name, posting videos, face and everything. She's on there. What is her TikTok username, you may ask? Why, that would be TN Steel.
TN Steel.
TN Steel is back, baby. TN Steel, the one who replaced Connie Ortiz.
Right, the admin. She's adminning the Facebook group. Yep.
TN Steel, the state abbreviation for Tennessee, where she's from,
Mm-hmm.
and it's spelled with an E at the end of it, like Danielle Steele. Mm-hmm. The author, I'm sure it's just like it's like glass onion shit. It's like, oh, that's so stupid. So it's unclear what happens next, because it turns out it's not actually illegal.
Is Connie Ortiz real?
So there is two schools of thought
I see.
on the existence of Connie Ortiz. Um, some people in the group are saying like, no, she's real. That's a real woman. She was like involved in the day to day. She's really running the group. To which I'd say, yeah, well, so was Susan Meacham.
That's so my like the reason I'm wondering is because like she was like #1 fan, and then she like stepped up to run the group after Susan quote unquote committed suicide. But then why would you need to be TN Steele to take over the group? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what if you're already running the group, you don't need to make another identity to get admin privileges, which makes me think she might be real.
Yeah, 40 chess. Then you kill off Connie. Get another GoFundMe. You know?
But again, like if Connie's real,
that
then
makes sense.
If Connie's real, then you're right that it sort of speaks to like you could have just stayed in your lane and written like pretty good romance novels that like people enjoyed, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
And people did enjoy it. That's like what's kind of crazy is like there was like I'm by no means an elitist when it comes to books. I mean, I've talked about how audiobooks is how I've consumed the written word for half a decade now. But the comments that people leave, it leads me to believe that they would for sure be enamored by her fiction. They're just like, oh my God, let me tell you about having fun in the worst way, which is one of the other ones and shit like that. It's like that was a little bit of a departure because the guy on that one is a dude with a fedora. It's
interesting.
Over. There's no chick. It's just dude with a fedora. He's got a little facial hair, and it says break the tagline is breaking the rules has never looked so fun.
Nice.
It's like doesn't look like anything. It's in a book, idiot. So yeah, I did look it up. I wanted to know it's not illegal to tell a bunch of people you killed yourself. Not a crime.
Interesting.
It's what you do afterward that makes it worth all the hassle of telling a bunch of people you killed yourself. That's what makes it illegal. It's when you start collecting life insurance policies or paying off houses, shit like that.
We did an episode about faking your own death, and I do think there is like a distinction here, legally at least. It's hard with the internet too, because like it is so important to how people live, but it also like is so immaterial. So like I guess what I'm saying is there's a difference between telling a bunch of people you killed yourself and faking your own death. Like those are two there's sort of a spectrum there, and telling a bunch of people you killed yourself is at the low end of the faking. And a lot of things that are at the high end of it are illegal, but a lot of things that are kind of in that gray area are legal. So yeah.
I do right now. I can tell my girlfriend's dog George that I killed myself. George, I am dead now, and I'm still in the clear. I get fucking swatted.
It's because of bullying in the online book world. I'm dead now.
Oh man, the book that came out after her death, which probably may have saw a spike in sales. I don't know. The info's not available, but it's like I mean, I imagine it would have. But
by people doing podcasts about her, certainly.
Yeah. Also, this is we have like little chilly danger levels of spiciness when it comes to people we're doing episodes about hearing it. And I think this one we're in 5 little red hot pepper territory. Where
that's right. Yeah.
Ding, 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 high chance that Susan Meacham is listening right now. Feed your snakes, girl. Get out of our business. Yeah, right. You're out here faking your own death. You got snakes to feed. Fucking talk show audience applause. And I'm just like, yeah. And you're the coolest guy on Donahue. All right, so. Yeah, that's she. But the first page of the book it says, "Let's keep bullying where it belongs in fiction."
Nice.
This whole time is also the vibe is that bullying killed her, which I think which you have to keep that up. So, but with not much more to go on for now, I have a feeling this is going to be something that develops. I hope, but it's safe to assume that Susan Meacham's story is just entering its third act. Susan's back. She's bigger than ever, and now she's got the juice.
I really do think that this will generate publicity for her, and probably will translate into sales. As much as she has pissed off all of these people that were her former sort of community, I do think she'll probably make a little money.
Do you think she has a book on deck?
I don't know.
One in the chamber.
Yeah, like maybe she has a book where like this factors in as a plot or something.
Yeah,
that's what I would do if I wanted to make money.
Exactly. Yeah, and she had 2.5 years to write it. She could have written 15 of them.
Yeah, that's true. She could have a whole series.
Yeah, it's just like, and this is the story of a Southern belle who killed herself, and everyone said, "Smart move, girl," and she was respected for it. This is like that's the narrative. This is going to incentivize telling
So
people you killed yourself.
what? So she was on TikTok as TN Steele. Was she writing books as TN Steele, or was she just on like
I
on social
believe
media?
I don't know anything of T and Steele's
Okay.
literary output, so I don't know. I think she was just on TikTok.
Okay.
Um, I know that the community was also just avid readers. It wasn't like it's only like
Right.
750 members,
Yeah.
so it's very very close. But I think it's also a lot of not everybody's like an author, but like it still feels that I don't know. Yeah, I feel like maybe she would. Maybe she goes Chris Gaines with it, and that becomes like her next little thing, and she
Because I
writes
like
his
I
own.
wondered if she was still writing as TN Steele and maybe her books weren't getting attention, and so she was like, "I'm gonna be Susan Meachen again because I'm like a known name." That's what I was
Oh,
wondering.
how creepy! Just like outfits in a closet. She can just be like, yeah, trying to put my back on my Susan Meacham suit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
So yeah, I figure yeah, she's probably has some books on it. Worth it? I think it's gonna pay off for her.
I mean, I think financially it is gonna I because like you said, it's not illegal. I do feel like they might make her give the money back on GoFundMe, but I
Perhaps,
feel like
yeah.
it's debatable. And so what her net gain from this so far is $1,700 from the fee and some free editing
Yeah.
services.
She's like, I made off with
Right.
$1,811.
I'm just trying to like put a dollar amount on this because it's
Yeah,
like it's kind of low reward, but it's also pretty low risk. It's just that a
yeah,
bunch of people are really mad at her now. But
yeah,
it just gets her name out there. So like it's $1,800 and counting or whatever. Like she's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
I think she is gonna make more.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
do think I don't know if I could say it's worth it though because I feel like there are very few communities I would want to piss off more than like the romance novel community because as
yeah,
I said those online spaces are like so intense and those people
yeah,
are online all day long. So
yeah. They got the time. Yeah,
yeah, I just feel like I wouldn't want to piss them off. So I don't know if it's worth it.
yeah. I don't. And also, that's the community. Like you write romance novels. You know, what I'm
It's
saying it
your
feels like
community.
yeah, it's your
Yeah.
community. Like I couldn't do this. Like I can't. I couldn't say it's worth it because I couldn't do this because like I like me myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I like
Right. I like
the
my friends and
standing
my
I
life
have.
and my
Yeah,
community.
yeah. And like the part of the liking about myself is that nobody thinks I'm a person who would do anything like this. You know, like that's
Yeah.
a component. And to be outed as a person who would do this,
Kind of
I feel like
undermines the rest of it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot of work. A lot of work I put in. But yeah, we will keep you posted on this story as it develops. But I would like to end on a quote included in the epigraph of Susan Meacham's final book, a Love to Last a Lifetime. And if you'll recall, if you haven't been listening, this is the book. She tricked her grieving friends into editing for free while they were still reeling from the news of her supposed suicide, which later turned out to be unreal. And now they'll know that the quote, the book they worked on opens with this quote: "Be unique, be you, be beautiful." And you know who said that? It was
So,
Susan Meacham. Susan Meacham said that. That was her quote, and it's quoted in the front of her book,
wow,
where
she has a
she
little epigraph. Wow.
where she became like potentially two other people for 2.5
Yeah.
years. Her mic drop moment was: "Be unique, be you, be beautiful." Susan Meacham. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne
Yeah.
Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that is the story of Susan Meacham for now.
God damn.
So
What a
yeah,
doozy.
yeah. What a wild lady. If you're out there, girl, you're the type we've gotten pretty good at clocking them. You're the type who's going to engage with us. So yeah, come on with it. Join our Patreon and DM us. That being said, guys, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We do this, like I said, we do it 2 times a week or 2 times a month. And we also, and that's anywhere you listen to podcasts. We also do have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/lie, cheat, and steal. You can find me online. It's at PZTX, PEEZYTX. I am going to be performing at Sherlock's in the Valley. I'm going to McAllen. I'll be back in McAllen, baby. The Valley loves me. I'm coming back. That's where I'll be Friday. So if you live in South Texas, come see me. Kath, you got anything coming up?
I have another podcast called What a Time to Be Alive. It's a dumb news story podcast. It's very fun. We covered this story on it a few weeks ago. I'm Kath Barbadoro on social media, and I think that's it. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Be safe, be smart, be unique, be you, be beautiful, but above all, don't get caught.
Don't get caught. See you next time.